Thank you for tuning in and listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to a podcast, and each and every week being live here in the chat, letting us know what's really good. Love seeing your smiling faces and your emotes. Let's go. So, this week we're going to be talking about the latest happenings within the gaming industry. We got a lot of cool stuff. Mario Day, whoa, Bethesda and Microsoft, oh, that's a thing. But before we get into any of that, let's see who we got with us today. First up, we got Chris.
Look, I took a nap tonight because homie's over 30 and naps are good. So, you know I'm going to have a great night, guys.
Speaking of great times, we got TV's Casey.
It's me, TV's Casey.
Yeah, and I'm your host, Bad Cody Surgery. What's going on, everybody out there? How you all doing? Look at everybody. So, first up, we got Mario Day, March 10th. Mario Day. Nintendo had a 35th anniversary. There was a bunch of stuff and things. Casey, what happened?
We got some hot pins. We got stuff that's on sale, and I think it might actually still be on sale until the end of the month. Like Super Mario Party and Luigi's Mansion 3 and a Mario Sports game or two. For a while, we also had that fun little Mario Battle Royale game, which was neat. And the biggest thing of all was Mario 3D All-Stars, featuring a not upscaled, not enhanced in any way version of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy 1.
It's true, and I think
for the three games you've already played for the low price of $60.
And I think that's gonna that's not gonna be available and after the end of the month, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They put a time limit on this one.
Yeah.
Wait, it's timed?
Yeah, a timed release.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean it came out a few months ago, but when they announced it, there was it's a limited run. They want you to get it while the iron's hot. So yeah, just a little bit.
I ain't getting it.
Yeah, I already got it.
Oh. Do you have a physical copy or did you get it digital?
Oh, digital. Dude, always digital.
Always.
Yeah.
Digital.
You know, if I have to take a cartridge out of my Switch and then put another cartridge in to play a game, I don't want that game.
True.
I don't want it.
I held off so long, and I was like, I need to get the physical game. And now almost no games. I gave up. I'm like, I don't want to switch. I don't want to have to switch my physical media. It's no good. So yeah, I'm all about that digital copy. So in celebration of Mario Day, guys, what's your favorite? What was your first Mario game? Is a better question, actually. First Mario, go.
I'll go first as the youngest of the bunch. And that would be Super Mario 64, because I got a Nintendo 64 at launch, and that was the first game I played on it. That and good old Diddy Kong Racing. Actually,
Diddy Kong Racing.
Maybe I didn't get it at launch. Maybe my parents just lied to me. But either way, that was the first Mario game I ever played. And what an experience it was to play that and then go back in time and be like, what do you mean they weren't always in 3D? What do you mean the camera on this isn't the best it's ever going to be?
I remember first seeing 64. It blew my mind. It was in a Best Buy. I was just like, what the hell is that? Like I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing, but there was a massive crowd of people. Like it was a gigantic display. Talking about you're walking the store, and you know how big Best Buy is and how tall the roof is. They were hanging banners and stuff from Mario and Nintendo at the top, and I was like, what's that? And like a beacon, like a lighthouse. I just went towards it like a flag going to a light. I was like, what's this? And then there was this massive crowd against upon this gaming station, and they're like, oh, this is that new Mario, and I was like, wait, what? This is weird. Wait. Yeah, it was so odd because my first experience was the NES Mario. It was in a it was in a daycare. They had a Super Nintendo system, and this kid was playing it, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to try?" And I was like, "What is this?" And he kind of tried to explain to me what it was. Like, oh, here, you use this thing, and then you make this guy move. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, you jump. And I was like, oh, this is so fascinating. And then it was there. The the impetus of video games began for me. And something in my mind was, it was like that scene in Doctor Strange where his mind was unlocked and he starts warping through space and time. And it's like, what? My brain was just unlocked. It was incredible. What about you, Chris?
So if you played it on a Super Nintendo, that would have been the All Stars version, right?
No, it was
Probably.
the NES. Yeah, no, sorry, it was the NES version.
NES
Okay.
version.
Yeah.
For me, it was also the NES version. My aunt and uncle had a Nintendo, and that was my first kind of experience doing it. And it was funny because they had 1 and they had 3, and I think at like one point I didn't really understand like the whole switching of the cartridges, and so like I was like, wait a minute, sometimes the levels are different, and sometimes there's these dope power ups where I get a raccoon tail and you can float. What's going on? And one thing I think is really funny is like, you know, all of us kind of grew up and I think everyone, if you're a gamer, you've played Super Mario Brothers, like the NES version.
Yep.
But I don't know when someone like showed me all the like the secrets and the different things that you can do. Like, you know, like down the warp pipes and also like the early warp pipes that aren't just like the end of the level, and like hidden that first hidden free light, like 1-up. Like I don't know who
And an
I don't know who
invisible
showed me
block
that. Invisible
how
block
would you
things?
even know where to hit it?
Yeah. I don't know. And even like Super Mario Brothers 3, I'm like, I don't even remember who showed me about warp whistles. Like I know someone did. I just think like at this point, like people just come out of the womb just knowing all these secrets.
Yeah.
And they just pick up a
Or
controller.
they watch The Wizard with Fred Savage. You
That
crouch
too.
on the block for 15 seconds, then you run off, you run behind the bushes, past the end of the stage, and bam, chest with a warp whistle in it.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Yeah. And who
would've
the heck
thought?
would who programmed that in and was like, oh yeah, they're gonna figure this out. They'll know this.
They'll get it.
No one. So that's our first. What about our favorites?
Oh, for me, it's I'm at a toss up of a crossroads, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Mario 3D World is thebomb.com. It's got all kinds of levels, it's got secret exits, it's got 5 playable characters, more stages than you could shake a stick at. It's actually challenging, but on a purely nostalgic basis, and maybe the Mario game I've played the most, Super Mario World. But I played it on Game Boy Advance, so it was Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World.
Sarge, what about you?
Oh man, definitely. One of my favorites has to be Mario Kart 64. Loved Mario Kart 64, dude. I think it's one of my favorite versions of Mario Kart. I just remember like going over to my buddy's house who had a 64 at the time, and playing GoldenEye, playing Shadows of the Empire. But one thing we could all play together, like all the boys that went to the house, was you know, besides GoldenEye, but like something we really had a lot of fun with was Mario Kart 64. And I would always pick Wario because I thought he was just like the funniest looking dude. Yeah, it was so good. I'd be like, get out of my way, yeah. It was so good, dude. Yeah, I just remember like really good times with the boys playing Mario Kart 64, dude. And we would like that's also where like trash talk began and like rivalries began, and it was just a lot of fun. We always look forward to playing it.
Mario Kart began the strife. Mario Party finished it.
100%.
Yeah, I think Mario Kart is definitely like in my top 3 of all of them. You can't like you gotta love Mario Kart, and I do love. I think best Mario Karts, obviously 64 is the best, but also the Mario Kart
I think
8 is
Double
awesome.
Dash is a contender.
Really?
Double Dash is a big contender. Maybe it's just because I played the absolute like ever loving stuffing out of it in college, because we played it blindfolded. We played it sitting backwards on the couch. We played it where one man drives and one man guns. There was like an infinite amount of ways that you can truly spice it up. And drinking, of course. Because of course.
Oh, of course.
But I think probably my favorite one is actually probably New Super Mario Brothers for Wii.
Okay.
I love that version.
Mega Mushroom, baby.
Yeah, I did that one. I don't know if that one had the Mega Mushroom yet. That might have been. No, I think that one was first the New Super Mario Brothers 1 for DS, and I don't think they brought that. I don't think they brought that Mega Mushroom.
There's too
until
many
there.
new Super Mario Brothers.
I know, but the Wii, the first Wii one was just awesome. The fact like it was the first time that I think that you could had like 4 players playing that side scroller. Like I love my side scroller, and guys, it's like I want to jump and I want to be able to, like screw over my friends while they're trying to make a jump by jumping on their head
Propeller
and
hats
getting a
and
higher.
penguin suits.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
penguin suit for the win. But I think that is, it may be a controversial opinion, but I think that may be my favorite one.
And it
So
looks
much
like
fun.
in chat we got Crizzle Titch was Super Mario Brothers was his first one.
Nice.
Lord Zach, Super Mario World. Thank God
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey is his favorite. Not gonna lie, he's saying his favorite. Lord Zach said Paper Mario was also fun. SNES was best Mario Kart. With that juicy-
Throwing Paper
there it is.
Mario in there is putting me for a loop. I was just thinking mainstream games, but like you got to consider Paper Mario 1000 Year Door in there. One of the absolute best narrative storylines in almost any game of all time, and the fact that it's a Mario game, pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed Super Mario World. That was another one when I was coming up when learning about emulators and stuff. That was one of the first ones I emulated, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was like a thing. I didn't know this existed. You can emulate games on a computer, home personal computer system. This is incredible. What else can man do? Whoa! But yeah, so happy Mario Day that took place recently. So moving right along, there's something big that happened that finally went through. It was officially announced a while ago, but it actually the acquisition just recently took place. And what we're talking about is Xbox owning Bethesda Game Studios and ZeniMax. Whoa! So they put out a release saying, today's an exciting day. We officially complete the acquisition of ZeniMax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks. It's an honor to welcome the 8 incredibly talented development studios, Bethesda Game Studios, ID Software, ZeniMax Studios, Arcane, Machines Crew, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse Studios. In a kind of like a roundtable discussion they had today, they weren't really talking about releases. What they were talking about was their partnerships. It was pretty cool. It was like a like a Zoom call within the company that we can all just kind of like peer into. So they did a live stream to talk about how they're loving their relationships going forward and how they're trying to tell the fans, like, listen, even though Microsoft owns Bethesda and the other studios now, like nothing's really going to change because they've been working with them this whole time. Because a lot of fans were kind of just like, okay, what does this mean? Are we going to get the same quality of games? Is Microsoft going to like muddy the waters? Are things only going to be on Xbox? And they kind of answered a few of those things, but mostly they were just talking about how, they were excited, about this acquisition. And they did say that there are going to be some games, not every single game, that's going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC, which we kind of knew was happening, but they officially said today, yes, that's the case. Not all games, but there are going to be some. And the reason they say not all games are going to be exclusive because there are still quote unquote contracts they have to uphold and take a look at. So I'm like, oh, okay, there's probably some stuff that those Bethesda studios had in the works. And then when Microsoft bought them out, they're like, okay, well, we're not going to tell you to rip up those contracts. Obviously, you guys got to do what you got to do. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. And everybody in that live stream was just like, yo, okay, you guys are talking about how you bought Bethesda, right? Where's the new Elder Scrolls? Give us that new Elder Scrolls, you nerds!
New Elder Scrolls, give me a new Fallout. I don't even care about Skyrim.
Bruh, like this Skyrim, that's the only thing that exists within Elder Scrolls. Stupid, but yeah, give me the new Elder Scrolls. Give me the new Elder Scrolls. I don't care anything else.
That game
Fallout,
came out.
whatever. Fallout. Listen, we all saw what happened with the
Hold
last
on a
Fallout.
second.
How did 76 go for everybody?
Apparently it's great now, but I am too gun shy to actually get back into it again. What I will tell you is I say Skyrim instead of Elder Scrolls because that game is like 10 years old and they are still releasing it on every console under the sun.
Yep. It's a little
Yeah.
disgusting. It's gonna.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on my phone soon. Like that's an inevitability.
Yeah.
Within the next
Well,
5
yeah.
years, we will have a full blown Skyrim on our phones. I'm
Mobile
calling
Skyrim.
it. Calling the shot right now. But this is. I mean, yeah, this is cool. When they first announced that this was going to happen, yeah, they said that they're like, this doesn't mean they're going to be exclusive. They obviously anything that they've already announced is going to come out on other consoles. And I'm wondering if this. I bet we'll probably still see a lot of the big titles that were promised still come out on multiple platforms. I would be very surprised if they lock down a lot of these, the Fallout games and like Elder Scrolls going forward, just because they are so huge. But obviously they're now under the Microsoft hood, so they got to deliver something that kind of brings you and entices you to come over to Xbox PC. But I doubt that they're gonna like fully close the door on exclusivity. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And on top
definitely.
of that, they've announced that starting actually tomorrow, they're gonna be a bunch of big Bethesda titles on Xbox Game Pass. So if you got Game Pass, get ready because it looks like all of that.
And that was one of the best things from the announcement, because like a lot of people don't really buy into like getting all new games are $70 or $60, and they don't necessarily either want to buy into a new game that's $60 or $70. So with the Xbox Game Pass, you're basically like renting the game for the service. So I like that they said that a lot of the new games are going to be on the Xbox Game Pass, which is huge because, I mean, PlayStation doesn't really have something comparable to that. So if you're talking about some Bethesda games that are exclusive only to Xbox and PC, and you can get them through Game Pass, I mean, if you only have like a PlayStation and nothing else, it's going to be kind of hard for them to compete. It's going to be, like kind of hard for them to navigate the space, because the Xbox Game Pass is a really good deal. It's a really good deal to have all of these titles, and Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, specifically said some of the new titles are going to be on this low cost Game Pass. You're not going to be paying $60-$70 for these new games, because moving forward, if people didn't know, some of these new games are going to be $70 US. And you may be interested in a game, but you don't want to shell out that amount of money. Xbox Game Pass, baby, there you go.
Boom.
Incredible.
Dunzo.
I couldn't believe that happened. I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah, so the conversation Microsoft and Xbox had today was pretty interesting. I do like that it was like a Zoom call within the company that we were just kind of like sitting in the crowd for, because people expected a lot of like new trailers, releases, but before they put out the stream, they were like, listen, this isn't like world premieres, because we got E3 coming up in the summer. They got to save some stuff and play things close to the chest. So a lot of people in chat were just like, all right, where's the new Fallout? Where's the new Elder Scrolls? It's like, this is not that type of meeting. This is not that type of call. And some people were kind of disappointed, but at the same time, a lot of people were kind of, their minds were put at ease, because Microsoft was like, look, we're not trying to change Bethesda. We're not trying to change the other studios that do what they do. Like, we acquire them because they do what they do. We're not trying to like, get up in there and like, give them bad direction, because then they won't be who they are and they're not going to make us money. So at least there's that. Speaking of gaming companies, coming up, Square Enix just announced something. So Square Enix, I love their tweet. Let's go! So debuting March 18th, they're going to have the first digital direct called Square Enix Presents, and they're going to be doing this moving forward. So Square Enix Presents is going to be showing off the new Life is Strange series with a 40-minute lineup of new trailers and announcements and some upcoming titles. So Square Enix is going to have like their own presentation moving forward. So it's going to be interesting. So the inaugural stream for this thing is going to be March 18th at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time on their YouTube and Twitch channels. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, so I know a lot of people that played Life is Strange and enjoyed it. Namely, one of my friends here, Paige, who's live in the chat and is talking a lot but not saying a single thing. So she's played Life is Strange and really enjoyed it. It's one of the games that she streamed on her channel too. And maybe like coming up, she'll stream the new one if she likes what she sees on March 18th. For the new Life is Strange game. But yeah, have you guys played Life is Strange game? They're actually pretty good. Good narrative story games. The last one too, kind of hit. Like the first episode of the last one we talked about, it was like a bit about like xenophobia and immigrants and stuff like that, and like police. It was really interesting. Really interesting. I was like, damn, here's where we're gonna go with some commentary. But who knows what the next one's going to be? So everyone's gonna be tuning in on March 18th to see what's up. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Square Enix has some other stuff up their sleeves, because if you're having a 40-minute presentation,
it's probably not going to be all Life is Strange. And if it is, that means that then that game is jam-packed with stuff, because it's very a 40-minute presentation on one game.
Maybe they could finish Final Fantasy VII before I turn 40. That'd be nice.
Unlikely.
They give us chapter 1 and then, we're already pumping out spin-offs, baby.
1.1.
Like you wanted an episode 2? Nah, you get an episode 1.5. Get out of here. Shut up, kid.
I'll like their Kingdom Hearts episode 1.5 dream drop stuff and things, whatever.
Dream
like Disney? How do you feel about math?
Over 2 days.
It's so ridiculous how they stretch that thing out. My God. But yeah, that's Square Enix's thing. There's something with Ninja Turtles coming up.
Yeah. Have you played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo or Genesis or arcade.
Well, that was one of my favorite games growing up. Turtles in
It's
Time.
everybody's favorite Ninja Turtle game. All right.
It's so good.
Now look,
The Big Apple.
the beat, Big Apple, 3 a.m. Or that ever classic boss theme.
So good.
Ah, killing it. All right, listen. Streets of Rage 4 came out. It was great. Same people are making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge based on the 86 look at the Turtles that you love and all the same side-scrolling beat-em-up gameplay that looks just like it was lifted from the era of the Super Nintendo. I cannot tell you how warm my heart is to see this game. Everything about it looks like a labor of love, and listen, don't get me wrong, because the toyeticness of Ninja Turtles is well known, and they could pump out garbage after garbage after garbage, and kids will eat it up. This is the first Ninja Turtles property I've seen in a long time that seems to be almost exclusively catered to old people like me.
Dude, everyone loves Ninja Turtles,
And
man.
that's no shade on any of the other Ninja Turtles properties that have come out in a long time. The IDW comics have been amazing since the relaunch in like 2011. So for 10 years strong, we've got amazing, Ninja Turtles comics. But in terms of games, this is a breath of fresh air that smells like old air, and I've never wanted that kind of air more in my life.
And it looks good from this gameplay trailer. I like the
It does look
aesthetic.
really
It's
good.
not too far from the old school. I was worried because there was a game, I think back on the 360, where they had it more 3D looking. The characters were like 3D modeled. And they had like it was kind of cartoon. I was like, all right, this is kind of fine, but it played weird. But this is more in line with the OG look, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Where's this coming out on?
I think isn't it universally platformed? Am I mistaken on that?
I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see what's there.
Did I misread that? I thought it was coming out everywhere.
Good job,
where
Casey.
beat 'em ups are sold.
Good.
Well,
job.
it's definitely on Steam. Let's put it that way. We know that's a thing.
Chat, this is Casey's one thing to do.
Oh, come on. I'm showing TBA on a lot of these, but definitely Microsoft Windows. So
Chat, when
That's
you have that one job to do.
don't be like that.
You don't be like that. You have one job.
They just announced the trailer. I don't know, man. The game is still in development. What do you
Where's
want
this thing
from me?
coming out? Where is it? Where is it?
I don't know where. I don't
Where
know
is
when.
it?
All
Where is
I
it?
know,
Where
all
is
I
it?
know is that it's happening, and
Where
I'm
is
happy
it?
about it.
Where's it coming out? Where are they?
So on my bat.
I love the new Big Hero 6 meme. Where are they? If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For my
Oh my
my
God.
bachelor party, we went up to Fun Spot and we were playing games up there, and like all of a sudden, like half my bachelor party was missing, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I went downstairs, and they had been sitting at that friggin' Turtles game, Turtles in Time, for like maybe 2 hours, and they
That's
beat the
awesome.
entire thing in one sitting. I was like, "Good on you guys. Good on you."
That's dope. There's nothing like COVID. There's nothing like going to a barcade and finding out they got Turtles in Time. They got like the X-Men game. That's the beat 'em
Oh
up.
yeah.
Oh, the double cabinet X-Men game?
Yes, so good. Oh,
You
man.
two can have 6 X-Men playing at the same time.
It's so good. Love it. When you go to a barcade, like, yo, they got Turtles in Time. Yo, they got a double cab X-Men. Yo, let's go. So many good old school games. I'm excited for this. Like, I'm definitely picking this up. You know? Yeah. If anyone and I love that they're bringing some stuff like this back. Isn't it crazy that like old school games like this like do better than like more modern day games?
Ever since the debut of like Shovel Knight and Super Meat Boy,
Yeah.
retro games have had a revolution that has just continued strong.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that classic feel, but the cool thing is like you can add the video, like the aesthetic that they were faking but couldn't because the technology wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But now like they can make it as perfect as you would have wanted it back in the day.
And the
which
sound is
great.
much better.
The sound is much better.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, the beat 'em. I
Speaking
feel like the beat 'em was
good, guys. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we got more Button Smash. Stay right there.
With a cape. No, anything. Yeah. Cape is always crazy. Cape is always crazy. Look, there are clowns walking the streets right now.
Right now.
There is no one dressed in a cape. Rogue Wave Podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. Streaming every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Wave Podcast, and available immediately following the live stream wherever major podcasts can be found.
Hey guys, welcome back to Button Smash. Thank you all for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, seeing our VODs there at Rogue Matter. And for chilling with us here live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter every Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much. We see you all in the chat. We see all your smiling faces, keeping active, sharing us all around the world, to your friends, to your buddies, to your mama, to your friends. Well, it's really good. So in this part of our show, we got some other topics to talk about. Not all of them as fun as we would like them to be. Last week, we talked about a lot of different subjects, one of them being the problems with the gaming industry and the problems with certain people yelling out racial slurs. So last week, it was a certain high-level Twitch streamer yelling at the N-word. This week, it is a NBA basketball player for the Miami Heat, also a Twitch streamer, yelling out a racial slur for Jewish people. Unfortunately, this thing is still prevalent within our community, and you just it's sad to see it. All right, but we keep the same energy for every single community that's targeted like this. So last week, when we talked about this, we keep the same energy this week, talking about how it's not okay for certain people to keep targeting certain communities. It's not okay within gaming. It's not just a word, no matter what it is. It's hate speech targeted towards a particular group. And we are at Button Smash and Rogue Matter obviously don't stand for things like that. And for people to brush it off and say it's fine, say it's okay, the whole it's just a word BS. Listen, like I'm gonna keep the same energy for when people say the N-word, to when people say the K word for Jewish people, to any other community, LGBTQ+. Listen, can't we all just be good people, right? We all listen, this is the example I always give, right? We all get caught up in the heat of the moment. We do. I play Call of Duty. I know what's up. I know what time it is, but it's not within me to put any anti-Semitic slurs out there because that's not me. So if I'm getting killed in Call of Duty and I get killed, I'm not, one, going to say the N-word because that's not in me. I don't say that word, even though I am a person of color. And two, I'm not an anti-Semite, so that's not going to come out of my mouth. So people are just like, oh, it's just a slip up. It's just this, is that. Bull! Same energy. BS. Yeah. Absolute BS.
This isn't Papa John's where you got to spend hour after hour unlearning racial slurs here.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not within you, if it's not within you, it's not going to come out. It's as simple as that. So people who back people like this, like the basketball player from the Heat, talking about, oh, it's just a slip, it's just that. Like, yo, if it's not within you, if it's not within you, bro, you're not going to say it. That's all I got to say about that. If it's not within you, if you don't practice saying it on the regular, same energy as last week, all right? But this time, for my Jewish brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? It's not going to come out. So people talk about how, oh, he said he was sorry. Man, he's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. He's sorry he said it within the public space. He's sorry he said it within the public space. Again, don't say it at home. Don't practice saying it. Don't go out, whatever. And it's going to come out on stream in front of thousands of people. All right? So his apology, nah, son.
I will say this has a better ending than last week. Because last week it was I'm sorry. I thought I didn't really say it. You only thought that I said it. This time, motherfucking consequences, bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
$50,000 fine, suspended. Ooh, baby. We're losing sponsorships. We're losing followers. We're losing everything. And you got to fucking deal with it, Meyers Leonard.
Yeah, Meyers Leonard got clapped the fuck up. Right, Chris?
Big time.
Yeah. Meyers Leonard, suspended by team, dropped by a whole bunch of sponsors. I mean, it's pretty easy to say that any word that is created out of hate is just unacceptable. We said a lot about, we talked a lot about this topic last week. You guys know how we feel about it. Obviously, what our stance is. I think that actually, surprisingly, Julian Edelman, the NFL player, actually had a great response, basically saying, "Hey, you need to know, regardless, like what you said, it's not just that you said it. What you said was out of hate." His main goal was to educate Meyer about what that word means and what it means to the Jewish community, and knowing that it's not cool, but it was set out at education. He literally invited him down to Florida, be like, hey, come down, have dinner with us. You'll see what the Jewish community is all about and why using that term is completely unacceptable. And yeah, great. I mean, this is someone who has a much higher pedestal to fall from. So than someone who's a Twitch streamer. So it is good. You always want to see the consequence. Is okay. There's got to be consequences, and you got to learn from what this was, and it needs to be used as an example. It's not just enough to be not racist. You got to be anti-racist.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up too, because you have people that are unlike a lot of people within the Call of Duty community. When Symphony dropped the N-word with the A at the end, and all of his boys, like Courage JD, were like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you for not so you're skirting against this, and you're so brave." And his girlfriend be like, "Oh, you weren't hurt to fly." No, you got people in the professional community, like other sports, like Chris, how you pointed out that Julian Edelman from the Patriots, like two Myers were saying, I get the sense that you didn't use that word out of hate, more out of ignorance. Most likely, you weren't trying to hurt anyone or even profile Jews in your comment. That's what makes it so offensive. And I love that he brought up that point. Talking about how when people use slurs like that so casually, that's a dangerous part of it, because people try to okay it by saying, "Well, this person X didn't say it maliciously or with hate." It's like, yeah, they
doesn't matter. It's the base. It's the base of the word. It's where the word comes from.
Exactly, and Element continues saying, when someone intends to be hateful, it's usually met with great resistance. Casual ignorance is harder to combat and has greater reach, especially when you command great influence. Hate is like a virus, and that's true. Even with Symphony last week, the problem we had with Symphony saying that the N-word with the A on the end is that he said it casually, and a lot of his fans and a lot of his his people were talking about how he's not the kind of guy who would say it, this or that. They were going around the issue of him saying it, but what Julian is saying here, that casual ignorance is harder to combat, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, hey, it's just casual ignorance. You don't know what to say. It's not that big of a deal." Same thing here. They're trying to say, that Myers was like, "Oh, he wasn't really saying it towards Jewish people. He wasn't really, saying it to be mean." But it's like, that's the point. He casually said it because he probably says it in his, in his everyday life. Because again, if you say it casually, if you say behind the scenes, it's going to come out. And him having that casual ignorance is tough, because you have fans who come out. There are people who came out who were on his side, like, "Hey man, like, it's no big deal." I mean, listen, it is a big deal. All right, like casual racism and bigotry is still racism and bigotry. You know what I mean? So it's insane. And one of the good things, like Casey said, is that like he was banned off of platforms, he was removed from a lot of things, and it seemed that almost happened in real time, because you can see there's a clip from his stream where he tells his boy he's playing with to hold on, and he picks up his phone, and he's on his phone for a good minute. He's on his phone for a hot second, and you're like, he's getting the business right now. Like, he is almost in real time in 4K.
This is some Vince McMahon with a headset backstage. Like, what are you doing out there, pal?
100%. That's great. For real, yeah. That's what it seems like. And when he said to his boy was, "Oh, yo, it's I gotta go. My wife called me, and I gotta get off the phone."
Sure, pal.
And she called me a racist,
sure.
so I gotta go.
Sure, it was your wife. You got checked in real time, man. It's
awesome.
So crazy. Oh my god. I only wish that somebody had checked Symphony in real time, but but hey man, yeah, just like Chris said, you got to be anti. You got to call it out as you see it. You got to do it in real time. It's not enough just to be like, "Hey, it's not that big of a deal." You got to come out. You got to educate people. Like I said last week, I didn't think Symphony needed to be canceled for saying the N-word with the A when he was talking to his boy Myth. Like, "Hey, I'm ready for a hike today," N-word and stuff like that. You got to be proactive. You got to be like, "Hey man, like, even though you didn't say it with maliciousness, let's have a conversation. How about you do a Twitch stream with some of the top black creators on Twitch and be like, yo, let's have a conversation about people casually saying it within the gaming community." And unfortunately, this guy who was on the Miami Heat, felt the wrath. He got clapped from every single thing. Like, things getting pulled from him. Origin PC pulled out. They're like, "Yo, we don't stand for this. No longer with this guy.
We don't want to sell our $15,000 computers with you anymore."
Yeah. Also, just to call out and just to clap Origin PC for a hot second. I don't know if they still are sponsored and partnered with this person. But when PewDiePie in his live stream said the N-word with a hard ER when he got clapped in PUBG, they were still partnered with him. So I don't know if they're still partnered with him now, but it seems like they reacted really fast with this. I don't know. Maybe somebody look into that, see if they're still partnered with him. But hey, PewDiePie dropped the N-word with a hard ER. They thought it was still cool, Origin PC, but it's good to see people change, maybe companies change, and they're just like, yo, we got to get off, like right off the bat. Like we're pulling out. We're pulling out of this guy.
Look, it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture, right? You do something, you got to pay the piper. You got to own up.
Yeah.
You got to feel the burn.
Yeah, Crystal Twitch. It's well, what a time to be alive. Oh my goodness. Yep. Moving right along to other news here. What is this about Twitch brand safety? What do we got going on here with Twitch?
So, folks were digging into some of the new Twitch APIs, and they saw something weird that was like calculating, that basically was going to like calculate a score. And part of what it's going to do is Twitch is going to be rolling out a brand safety score. And what it's going to do is going to automatically kind of analyze your stream about like, are you using, like what kind of language you're using, what kind of games are you playing, basically to figure out whether or not advertisers would like to target those streams to kind of pump their products. It's interesting. It's a very kind of I feel like a very Facebooky move, to be honest.
You live by the algorithm, you die by the algorithm.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, it always starts with advertising, and then we kind of see it start to be used for other reasons as well. So I mean, it's a little weird. I guess we'll see once they roll it out whether or not this is a good thing to tailor a better advertising experience and to try to avoid toxic streamers getting sponsorship, which is always nice. But yeah, it's we'll see what happens when it like officially rolls out. I'm sure Twitch will have, because right now it's just folks have been diving into the API. I don't think Twitch has actually released like a specific breakdown of what that's going to look like. But
I don't think they've released any official statement yet, even though this API leak did come out through this guy diving through the source code. And it has like some people concerned about what this means for their channel, for their possible, like brand partnerships and things like that. And one of the things was, people saying how, what if, they give you this gear score, right? Like as essentially like a gear score, but essentially metrics, to sell to brands like, hey, this stream, has these metrics, it does this, it does that. So maybe, if you, Johnson & Johnson, or this place, that place, want to advertise on this channel, then it'd be best, or this. So some people there are two sides to this thing. Some people are saying, oh, what if this possibly, diverts a brand that you want to work with from working with you based on the metrics that Twitch gives to them? Because what if this brand is looking out for people to partner with on Twitch, and then the metrics say, well, you wouldn't be a really good fit, but that channel does want to work with that brand, I mean, and the other side is like, well, this is business as normal. All kinds of businesses have, metrics in which they measure who they want to work with and how. So this is nothing different than what brands do already. So it's a pretty interesting conversation that's being had right now. So we'll see what happens when Twitch officially talks about it, because I don't think this is supposed to be out in the world yet, so yeah. It's interesting. Twitch always behind.
You know what it kind of reminds?
Twitch always behind their users, man.
You know
Twitch,
what
if it's DMCA, if it's this, Twitch is always behind what these users are doing and what they want. It's insane, dude.
You know what it kind of reminds me of that freaked me out a little bit? The social currency episode of Black Mirror with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not great.
No. Nope. And once our social media is about to give us friggin' scores in the background, it's not great. But this is, like Star said, it could be a double-edged sword. It could either help other streamers that maybe have been flying under the radar but have like very good branding safety scores, but then it also could preventative. It depends on how much brands and Twitch weighs these scores when talking to advertisers. We'll see. Yeah. All right. In the meantime, Diablo 2 Resurrection. So Diablo 2, the HD kind of glow up, if you will. They actually announced that you're going to be able to transfer your game from the like regular version of Diablo 2, which is weird. Like it's great for people that are currently playing, but I believe your accounts like reset after like 2 months of not playing.
Whoa,
If you
what?
out of inactivity, I remember playing Diablo 2 like back in the day. If you didn't log in and actually access your account, they would actually wipe those characters from the game, and so you'd have to like start over due to inactivity.
Was it not Battle.net?
Yeah, it was. It was still through Battle.net, but like unlike like World of Warcraft, where it always would hold on, even if like your stuff lapses, you can still reactivate and things like that. Diablo 2 didn't work the same way. Diablo 2, even though it used Battle.net to those servers to connect people through the internet, if you did not log in, you would lose those characters. So like if I logged in right now to my Diablo 2 account, there would be nothing, because I haven't logged in and kept it active. But that's great for folks that have been like continuously playing. Like they released updates to Diablo 2 so that you can play it on kind of current generation software on Windows and Mac as well. So those folks must be stoked. Be like, all right, cool. My game's just going to look a heck of a lot prettier, and I'm not even going to miss a step. So I'm into it. And yeah, that's what we got for Diablo 2.
Awesome. Now let's go into something neat here, ladies and gentlemen. So something a bit more fun. So we're going to be talking about some spoiler alert for the Disney Plus series WandaVision. So right now, if you haven't been caught up with the ending of WandaVision, if you're planning on watching it, I would say go ahead and either mute, or we'll see you next time on the show. So right now we're going to go into this segment talking about WandaVision on Disney Plus. The finale happened, and boy, oh boy, interesting. So again, spoiler alert. If you have not seen WandaVision, we're going into heavy ending spoilers here. We'll see you next time if you want to just leave the channel, or if you want to stick around and you don't care, you just want to hear our beautiful voices talk about WandaVision. So again, spoiler, here we go. So WandaVision just ended off, and boy, oh boy, do people want another episode, because a lot of people feel like, wait a minute, this is how it ends.
That's it? That's the ending we get?
That's the show, dude. So to recap WandaVision, you know, we have a show that Kevin Feige promises is going to go into the multiverse of madness with Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, in which she traps herself into a town of Westview, makes herself a giant big old bubble dome that's playing out
hexagon.
a version of the hexagon. Bubble hexagon show thing. Let's argue semantics while I'm doing the thing. So WandaVision, she's broadcasting a show, different shows from a bunch of different eras, because it looks like in an episode she watched them as a kid. So we have the Dick Van Dyke Show, Bewitched, Malcolm in the Middle. That was kind of my favorite. A lot of people stopped watching WandaVision after the second episode because they thought, okay, if this is all the show is, I'm going to be kind of checked out here. And I know people who were like, let me know when I can tune back in, because
They're
now,
just playing it straight for the first couple episodes.
yeah, and on Kevin Smith's YouTube channel the other day, he actually had the director on, which was actually pretty interesting. The director of WandaVision was talking about how, one, he has an extensive career within Hollywood, which is cool. Like, he was in some of those old shows back in the day as a kid, which was awesome, like Growing Pains and stuff. But he talked about certain treatments that he did, and long story short, in WandaVision, all right, we get treated to what looks like and what appear to be Evan Peters' X-Men's Quicksilver. Surprise, surprise! Huge spoiler alert.
It's a dick joke.
It's a big red herring that really didn't pay off at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people were mad about it, so I kind of just want to go into that for a little bit. So on Kevin Smith's YouTube channel, when director Matt Shackman was talking to him, he said that it was just supposed to be a callback, like was it Matt Boner or whatever Boner?
Ralph Boner.
Ralph Boner, that's right, because he needed to answer who is Ralph, and he needs to kind of do like a cheeky callback to, on two levels. One, cast members from back in the day on these sitcoms being recast as different people, like Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince, other shows, and the boner thing was like a toss to like a throwback to Growing Pains. So that explained that. And then two, they didn't want to do the MCU's version of Quicksilver. His name escapes me for a moment because Wanda was already dealing with the loss of Vision. So kind of having him come back as well would have been too much, and especially too much for Wanda, too much for the audience, and there'd be a whole other bunch of questions. So he said on Kevin Smith's channel that, we were doing this as, a way for Wanda to also deal with grief, because we're talking about Wanda's grief and the way she's dealing with it in this entire show, leading into Multiverse of Madness and kickstarting off a bunch of other things. So he said the Ralph Bohner thing was a throwback to Growing Pains. Also, people are being recast in sitcoms, and also, Evan Peters was great. He didn't really to me, he didn't seem like he answered it, because that's all he said, and he was like, but there's that. And then he left that certain part off with saying, listen guys, we know the X-Men are eventually coming. Kevin Feige said it himself, the president of Marvel Studios. We know that Mutants was announced, which is going to be the name of the working title so far. We know the Multiverse of Madness is coming. So he was just like, I was aware of some of the fan theories out there. We watched along as you guys were going along, looking at some of the fan theories. He even said some of the fan theories are actually really good, and some of the fan theories he was like, oh no, please don't go with that. One in particular, and I'll toss this to you guys as well. Talking about how what's her name? Monica Rambeau was talking about how there was like an aerospace engineer that she knows she's going to contact, and he kind of put that out in a couple episodes. So while he was watching the internet go crazy and talk about how, it's going to be Reed Richards. It's going to be Reed Richards. Who else could it be? It's going to be Fantastic Four. They're kicking it off here. He said to himself, oh no, please don't go with that. It's not that. He was alluding to like the rover scene. Like that's the rover sequence, and the engineer person was that female soldier that we saw. It wasn't supposed to be a big thing. It wasn't supposed to be this massive thing. Yep. And him working on this first Marvel property, I don't think he and the other two showrunners who helped him write this thing really understood how insane Marvel
they weren't ready for.
I don't think they fully grasped how doing little things like that are going to spark an entire thing, because Marvel's known for leaving out puzzle pieces to fit in a bigger puzzle later on. So you're doing stuff like that.
It's a very big double-edged sword, because people became used to the Netflix model where you get the entire show at once. So you're not going to get any speculation between episodes. You'd only get it between seasons. Like when Daredevil was coming out, people were like, all right, Daredevil Season 1, we got it. Now what are we going to get? Daredevil Season 2, we got to have Elektra. Maybe we have Bullseye. Maybe Melvin Potter becomes Gladiator. Maybe they'll do Born Again, which they eventually kind of did in part in Season 3. But when you release it week to week, the speculation is absolutely off the scales. I read theories from everything from Reed Richards is the engineer to Adam Brashear, the Blue Marvel, is the engineer because he's in a relationship with Monica in the comics, and they were on the Ultimates together, which would have been great. They're like, Mephisto is behind the whole thing, who is Marvel's version of Satan. They're like, Nightmare is behind the whole thing, who is basically an evil version of Morpheus from DC Comics. Like, they're throwing out all these big names. Like, people are like, oh, that book is The Darkhold. And I'm like, yeah, congratulations. Like, you nailed that one, show. But, like, I'm here. People are like, Man-Thing is going to show up. Jennifer Kale is going to show up. They're going to talk about the Nexus of Reality. Maybe it's going to have the Tome of Zeradna. There's going to be Atlantean sorcerers. Like, they were just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks. And for this, I blame Battlestar Galactica, as I do all things. But
wait, what? Why are you blaming BSG?
Because that's literally the storytelling in Battlestar Galactica. They let fan theories run wild, and then they kind of just threw stuff at a wall to see what sticks. It's like, sure, okay, Starbuck is an alien. Okay, all right. An angel, maybe.
Lane's on.
It's like, let's see, who's a Cylon this week? Saul Ty. All right. Okay.
True.
Yeah, that works. Sure. I appreciated WandaVision for what it was. The sitcom stuff, the way that it was shot, I don't know if it could have been any more perfect that they happened to be making this during quarantine, where so much of it is shot on like one closed set. You know, like, and when I say that, I mean like your classic, it's 3 walls of a house that they just pan from room to room. That seems to work
and
really well.
the director Max Chapman actually talked about that. Like COVID messed him up so much was like when this started airing on Disney Plus, the finale wasn't finished yet, and they were still trying to get that. I'm like, holy crap! I would have been sweating. Like Disney talking like, hey man, you got to deliver us, or else we can't. We got to go, dude. Even the first episode, like it almost didn't make it. It sounded like from the interview. He was from the roundtable he had with Kevin Smith on his channel. And it's interesting to hear how all these productions like get so messed up because this wasn't supposed to be the first one out of the gate for the Marvel TV show. It was supposed to be, I think, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it was supposed to be Black Widow, then Falcon and Winter Soldier, and like then this one, or this was the 4th, something like that. But because they had to get this one going, it almost didn't make it. And I think it kind of shows because they didn't pay off like a few things. And it's, I mean, do you guys feel satisfied with the show, the way it was? I mean, granted, it's going to be a continuation, but do you feel like it left off in a place that was good enough?
I will say, if the goal of the show was to expand on 2 characters that really didn't get that much play in the 3 or 4 movies they've been in, Wanda and Vision, it succeeded. It really did. I mean, you got more of them in this show than you did in any of the other movies. You got a little bit of extra backstory for Wanda, which I felt was spectacular. And the conclusion with Vision, you know, his whole struggle to realize that he's a product of this, you know, fantasy world, but then he meets, you know, his real self, his actual reanimated body, and they have a philosophical discussion instead of just a Dragon Ball Z fight. I mean, there was a little bit.
There was a little Dragon Ball Z.
They did sort of have a Dragon Ball Z fight.
They did have a little bit of a Dragon Ball Z fight.
Yeah, which has some pretty cool moments in there, like almost like Zack Snyder-ish, like Superman, like zoom ins, like third person shots where like our vision and albino vision, like they plummet like towards the ground as the camera's tilting. I was like, ooh, this is pretty good.
Yeah,
like, the animation team thought about this, dude.
And you could really get a sense that they cared about the characters. Like the few times you get to see Vision throw hands, or maybe even really the one time in Civil War when Hawkeye tries to pull Scarlet Witch out of, you know, the Avengers compound, and he's doing stuff like he lets Hawkeye take a swing and he phases his arm through him, but then he solidifies it before the swing is all the way through. Like, this is how like a ghost man would pretty much, a ghost robot, I guess, would pretty much fight. And when you have Vision on Vision action, they're like phasing their arms through each other. Like, everything is really well coordinated.
And a lot of people kind of pointing that out as a flaw for him, you know, fighting Thanos. Like, wait a minute, he can phase through because like the White Vision did try to take the stone out of our Vision's head, and he phased through it.
Thanos had the reality stone. He could just.
How come he didn't phase through Thanos? And people were like, well, he was wounded by Corvus Glaive, so it kind of messed him up a little bit. So maybe he wasn't thinking straight. Yeah, but kind of like, you know, there's a lot of like power imbalance in Marvel, right? Like we didn't really see Scarlet Witch like really use her power in the MCU, but we really saw it here more than anything else. Yeah. That's because the Russo brothers in an interview kind of were just like, well, we don't really know how to write powerful characters because how do we make them interesting? I mean, these people could do anything, you know.
Yeah.
But Chris, the writer of WandaVision, like, what do you think?
I enjoyed it. I definitely think I think my main complaint is the fact that when she was like, oh, I'm meeting a friend, and it wasn't like someone, it wasn't like someone we already knew. Like, I thought it should have been like Maria Hill, like someone, it would have been like, all right, cool. Ooh. Like, it doesn't like break the bank, the fact that she's there, but still it's like still a little nod there. With I overall, I enjoyed it. I did think that like the fact that they didn't, by the end, having like White Vision fly off, and like we know that he's now like his memory's unlocked, like he's gonna come back as the like OG Vision.
Yeah.
I feel like that felt a little bit less than like paid off. Like, I thought at the end when like the world was collapsing in on them, that Vision would actually be standing there, but it would have been the White Vision.
Nah, he's got shit
at the end.
He has emotional baggage now.
Yeah, it's almost like no consequences. Our Vision's still kind of alive, up and away. It's like, wait a minute. So they kill him off, but he's back now. Like, what?
But he's still there.
Off. He screws off somewhere, and the real Vision doesn't even tell Wanda. It's like, by the way, don't be sad about me dying because I also still really exist. He didn't tell her. What the hell?
Dude.
What a piece of crap. What a piece
Remember-
of crap guy. He's like,
I
by
don't
the
know
way, I know you really care about me. I'm not going to tell you about how I actually unlocked the other vision, so he is also me, so you still get to have me. Like,
Right.
He doesn't even tell her that. What
He
the
doesn't
hell?
do that.
I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Do you guys remember the show Heroes?
Yes.
And when, like, you know, in the middle of it, all of a sudden there were like 3 different versions of Sylar that existed at like one time. Like the real Sylar, but he was in someone else's body, a fake Sylar. And like then, I don't know, it was weird. But I kind of felt like that was a similar thing. Like it was like, cool, it ended, but he didn't really die. So for Wanda, the emotional kind of hammer of that moment landed. But for us, we're like, cool, but he's also like right over there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, he just
and-
he flew off. You know, they had a they had a very thought provoking intellectual battle about the ship of Theseus, and then the one
Yeah.
he got unlocked and flew off. And there we
Yeah.
That's it.
So I mean,
No
I think it's a
consequences.
really good launching point for Phase 4. Like, I great, cool. We kind of see, and you know, the fact that obviously we're going to be like, we now know multiple realities are going to exist in this. Obviously, the multiverse of madness, we get it. Yeah, okay, cool. I was satisfied by it. Actually, I need to talk to my mom, who I don't know if she's finished the whole thing, but now that we've completely departed from the sitcom of the week episode structure, I don't know how much she's gonna enjoy it. But yeah, I thought it was good. Into it. It didn't like it completely blow my mind, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wait.
thought it was. I just thought it was interesting, like what they did in order to. Oh, you have something else?
Yeah. I don't get the Monica Rambeau having like how she got her powers. I think that was like horrifically underexplored, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
her pet passing through, because like in the beginning, they talked about how the waves that are being put out are cosmic energy. So they
Right.
kind of explain. So it's kind of like how what's her name? Captain Marvel got her powers through the explosion of one of the Infinity Stones, and it's also like cosmic energy, and that's like washed over her and gave her powers.
Right.
So they talked about how like that's what Wanda's power is. The chaos magic is kind of also cosmic power as well. So Monica Rambeau going back and forth through the barrier, really the only one who went back and forth through the barrier.
3
Like
times,
that's kind of
yeah.
how they fudged it, you know. They're
I
like,
know, but
"Here we go."
it's so loose, and it just didn't have like the big wow payoff.
If I may,
I agree.
No,
may,
that's I want to hear the breakdown of Monica Rambeau
Yeah.
in this.
Well,
Go ahead.
hold on. If I may quote Danny Phantom for a minute, okay? There's a great big flash. Everything just changed. Her molecules got rearranged. Phantom, Phantom.
Yeah.
Her origin is actually pretty similar in the comics. She tries to like push her way through an energy barrier, and then she becomes like a being of pure energy. There's a lot of love for Monica in this comic book fan right here. She was the first Captain Marvel I ever encountered reading comic books. When she was on the Avengers in the 90s, which was great, and the 80s. But yeah, she like blows Carol completely out of the water in terms of powers because she's made of light, so she could do all kinds of things that you can do if you don't have a body. Like she can jump inside the light reflection of your eyes and like take control of you.
That's insane.
Like she had
That's so
like
OP.
the wild applications of her powers are so much more interesting than I have energy blasts that shoot out of my wrists. And
But how did you think of her in this show? Like, I think the character of Monica Rambeau was great in this show. That's fine. I just think it was weird to give her superpowers for basically her to do almost nothing.
yeah,
with them.
she
Yeah.
takes a bullet for children that don't really exist.
Yeah, what's up with Hayward being a comic book villain? Just like, I'm gonna shoot these kids.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even.
What?
I
What?
don't know.
Like they didn't even like resolve. I mean, are they even gonna resolve that in the multiverse of madness? I don't think so.
don't
Like,
think so.
why did he have such a hard on for Wanda to be a villain? Because he was from the beginning. He's like, oh, does she have one of those goofy nicknames? And we was like, no, what the hell? You,
I
you
think
freak.
I think the answer is for whatever reason she's the only one to actually give a shit about the Vision, so she's really like the only potential loose end of him resurrecting Project Cataract. Genius writing, by the way. As you know, a Vision that is purely under his or swords or the government's control. Because apparently nobody
Yeah,
else cares.
I love how he told us that Wanda went in there and got Vision. Like that's the reason why they're really gung ho about going after her, but she didn't. We found out that through that whole sequence, which I thought was fantastic, that she didn't.
Yeah,
she went there. She couldn't feel him, which is a callback to like All I Feel Is You, when like she was doing her wiggly woo finger things on
wiggly woo finger things.
That's what the stump people call it, and that's what Pietro actually said in one of the episodes. He's like, "Oh, it's a lot better than your wiggly woo." I was like, "Oh, snap!"
It's pretty good.
It's awesome. Yeah, but I mean, so yeah, with Hayward, he was just had his heart on for her, and I guess Casey, that makes sense because like Sword and he like they see the Vision as like a weapon, and even when Wanda came through, he was like, I can't let you leave here with whatever billions of dollars of vibranium and just put that into the ground. Like there's no way.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And she broke the glass, went down, and she goes, "Oh, I can't feel you. Okay, there's nothing here," and she left because she was like, "Okay, well, if I'm gonna take him, I mean, there's nothing there. A Vision, I can't." Whatever. Right. But then he was like, "Oh yeah, she came in and she stole his body." Like, so we were led to believe like, "Oh, he's like a walking corpse. It's actually his dead body." But even better, like
she's
she
puppeting
just
around, but no, not quite.
Yeah.
I
did like.
Oh, I was gonna say to swing it back to Monica. What I actually love most about her use as a character in this is we get a much better representation of what the blip was like for people to come back to life.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yes.
That was a great sequence.
Spider-Man Far From Home played it off as kind of a joke where it's like, look, our band just showed right back up in the gymnasium. And like that shitty little crybaby that you knew from years ago is now like a cool jock. And it's like, all right, like that's fine. But there's all kinds of like real ramifications for this, like dark ramifications. Like waking up in a hospital and your mother has been dead for 2 years. And it's just mass hysteria.
That was an amazing cold open as well. I did really like Monica as a character. Up until they were like, cool, she went back in and now she's super powered and we don't know what to do with her, so we're just gonna put her in a room with Pietro, which I definitely missed that, like
the stinger, because there haven't been any other stingers the whole time.
I missed that stinger. I had to go back because I had missed the white Vision one before, and I was like, "What? Where's this from?" I thought I was getting spoiled on the next episode, but all of a sudden Monica was in a room with Pietro, and I was like, "When did this happen?" Yeah. I don't know when this happened. Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of wasted. Like, he's holding her hostage up in that room and stuff, and again, director Matt Shackman. Okay, it's not Quicksilver, but it also is Quicksilver. So Agnes talks about how, well, I couldn't pull your actual brother because he's on another continent and full of holes. So I just pulled this guy, and there we go. It was my power. Yeah, but he has Quicksilver's exact powers, and he operates the same way as Quicksilver does. Also, it's Evan Peters, but it's not really Quicksilver. I thought that was really dumb. Yeah, and then Monica Rambeau's up in this room, like he's holding her hostage while like they're on their past romp through time because Agnes needs to find out how Wanda has her powers. So she's like, "Yo, I've been studying magic this whole time. How do we have these powers? Like, what's really good? Like, I need to get that for myself." And there are some people who
Agatha
think that
Harkness MVP of the entire show.
Yeah, it's crazy because
Catherine
she
Hahn
even
for
had
the
that
win.
song. It was Agatha all along, which is also false. It's also a gotcha red herring because it was Wanda all along. So it's like, wait, what is this show? Like, who wrote this? Who put this together? So as great as the ingenuity was for the show, I think there are some things they really, I think, dropped the ball on. Like, it was Agatha all along. It wasn't. It was Wanda. Okay, great.
Agatha being Agatha all along, I think, is just the implication that she's the reason that it's falling apart. That it would have stayed working and together if Wanda had just sort of like just had a happy existence like the way it started. But the more Agnes or Agatha started to influence it, like killing a dog and, making other things go wrong, that's why it started to crumble and break and made Wanda much more emotionally vulnerable so that she could just, all that magic right up.
Yo magic. I did like the sequence of the past, like showing her as a kid and like, showing the explanation of like why all those shows are there and like the sudden explosion and the Stark thing. And I do like the whole retcon of her like being a mutant pretty much. Her well, not a mutant, her being a witch, because we were told in the MCU that, it was the Infinity Stone that kind of gave you your power, the experiments. that was on the Maximus. But Agatha was like, oh, you use a certain hex. Like, you stopped that missile from exploding. You use a simple thing. And she goes, I see a young witch here. And I was like, oh, they're retconning this. So it's like she had a power along.
Your magical potential would have died on the vine if not for the Mind Stone.
Exactly, yeah. And then the experimentations came along because like she and her brother were like, well, we want to destroy those disgusting Westerners who came in and bombed through. It was another like the deeper thing. And I love that she saw like a vision of her as the Phoenix. I mean, as a Scarlet Witch. Right? Like it was just like, oh, that's cool. And let's really quick, let's talk about the costume. I thought, damn, Elizabeth Olsen looks good in that.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
That's great.
It's pretty dope.
We got the crown. It was more practical looking. I liked how Matt Shackman, the director, they talked about how big it was going to be, how practical it was going to be. They went through a bunch of different things. But in the end, I think it was a damn good look what they came up with for her real, like, here's my MCU Scarlet Witch costume. What do you guys think?
I was honestly more excited to see the comic book costume that she wears on the Halloween episode.
That was pretty hot too.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's a Sokovian fortune teller. I'm like, all right. And then Vision walks in his comic book costume, and I'm like, how the hell are they gonna do this? And she's like,
luchador.
She's like, you love luchadors, and I'm like, no, it works, and I don't like
so
it.
Great.
But her actual new Scarlet Witch, like superhero costume is chef's kiss. I saw concept designs of it on Twitter, and I was just like blown away because I've always wanted the head prongs. Scarlet Witch's head prongs are like they're iconic. Like, do you know anybody else in comics who has like a hat like that? Like maybe Enchantress, but like very few. It's a cool hat, and I love cool hats.
Maleficent.
That was not.
Yeah, everyone's been dubbing it like the crown.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because it, but she's also got like a hooded version that she can just swoop up when she wants to be like kind of incognito, but.
Or when she walks by a bunch of people that she was torturing the whole time, and then she puts her hoodie on so she can walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
that part was so crazy. They're just like, you're torturing us. Oh, can you? I have a daughter. Let her out of the room, please. And it's like, oh my god.
I got into a big argument with my girlfriend about it because I'm like, so Wanda kind of gets off of this consequence free, and she's like, well, there was her whole sacrifice of her family, and I'm like, her fake family, but okay, go off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the whole conversation with her and Rambo, like Rambo's just like, oh, they'll never know what you sacrificed.
She's
what
like,
your fake family?
You too have experienced grief. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of 40-year-old people behind her that like, yeah, you sure these people haven't experienced grief at all? You sure about that?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, well, you don't get your fake kids or your fake husband that's really dead, but you did actually torture these people because they did say that it was painful. What they were going, they literally said it was painful, and then you find out, well, there's no kids around because she's keeping them locked up in their room.
Yep.
Like that one lady who was head of the book club was like, oh, I have a daughter. She's 8 years old. Can you let her out of her room, please? I'll give her a hug. So it's like, so if the adults are saying that it was painful what they were going through, then you got to imagine she's torturing the kids as well. So she's torturing children in this freaking town, and she gets off with like, "Oh, they will never know what you sacrificed." I'm like, what is this no consequence thing?
Even better, it's like they'll never know what you sacrificed. And then Wanda's like, "Yeah, well, they're always gonna think that way about me." Anyway, peace. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm gonna go fuck off to the mountains and read this really fucked up book that's basically like the Satanist Bible. Like,
so is she gonna be? So are we gonna see her be like the big bad in one of these movies? Then
I want her to fully commit to being a bad guy because so far all we've really seen is like a villain to hero sort of redemption with Loki. Mm-hmm. I want to see a good guy go bad.
This could be it. I'm thinking that this could be, maybe she's the Multiverse of Madness final enemy, or the end, like
final boss,
the final boss, or like the Phase 3, like the next Thanos.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that they had Agatha say that, the legend of the Scarlet Witch is something that could even outpower the Sorcerer Supreme. And I'm like, that's a little on the nose for what's coming next.
100%.
Yeah, and also like I don't delve into those fan theories too much and buy into them, but I did think that they would tie it into the Multiverse of Madness by having Doctor Strange to show up in the end. How could he not sense that this whole hullabaloo was going on? Yeah. I mean, she's got this chaos magic. She was growing the chaos magic. I mean, hell, in the movies when Thor came to Earth. And Doctor Strange
he was on
took him with Loki. Yeah, he was on it. He was just like, listen, it's my job to keep track of this stuff. So he's like, hey, I'm just here to get my dad and my brother. Like, we'll mess. He's like, okay, if I show you where your dad is, you'll mess off. You'll piss off sharply. He's like, yeah, that's all I'm here for, just to see him. You know, my brother low-key put him down here. I didn't tell him to do it. He messed up, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll help you out. And then you gotta go, right? Because this is Earth. Is not your whole thing. So you mean to tell me Doctor Strange is off somewhere, just like pissing off, just like what?
And she's got a whole town hostage.
That's the only time Doctor Strange has been good at his job in these movies.
True.
Well, it's the only time he's been doing his job.
The Russo brothers. They admitted they don't know how to write powerful characters. That's why in Endgame, Doctor Strange holds up water.
Yeah.
Come on, you have the Sorcerer Supreme, and he holds up water. Because bad writing, bad writing is bad writing. Bad writing is bad writing. That's tough act to time. But yeah, so overall, there are people who still haven't like watched WandaVision. You guys would you recommend?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're invested in the MCU at this point, it's a must watch because it's clearly the launching of the next round of everything.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting ride to go into Captain Falcon, the Winter Soldier.
Listen, this sets up a few things. It sets up for Multiverse of Madness. It sets up for Captain Marvel 2, where we already suspect that it's got little bits into the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out. Little bits. And I like that. You know, I'd like to see maybe a little more cohesiveness where maybe one show could daisy chain right into the next. But, you know, who's to say?
Who's to say? And that's all we have to say this week on Button Smash. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, everywhere you can listen to a podcast. Hanging out here live on Twitch. We will see you guys later, or we'll see you another time.
Thank you for playing Button